is the resistance.
Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday, October 18th. I am your host, the Tin Man, with the Worldwide Resistance Network, an independent media outlet covering independent political activism. Again, we are live at the No Kings protest in Winchester, Tennessee, on the corner of College Street and 2nd. And joining me today is presently Reverend Ordo from the California area. Reverend, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, man. I've been waiting for this since July, since the last one happened.
Yeah, you weren't able to join us on the last one.
No.
It was Connor, who will probably be joining us momentarily. He said that he wasn't quite ready, but hopefully he will be here sooner rather than later. So we'll be able to get a bit of international perspective from him, and possibly even our friend Louise from Scotland. She can give an international perspective as well if she decides to join. We interviewed her about a week ago, and she's become quite the activist as well. I'd say she probably maybe more less conservative and more liberal in her terms of ideology and where she lives. So it would be interesting to get a perspective from her. To anybody tuning in, comments are enabled, so feel free to join in the conversation, share your thoughts and opinions. This is a roundtable discussion. Again, today we are covering the No Kings protest. This specific protest is in Winchester, Tennessee. One of these smaller protests, but we definitely want to get people's thoughts and opinions on the varying issues that are of concern, how people view the potential outcome of this event, if it's going to just remain peaceful protest under the Constitution, or whether it's going to turn violent as suggested by the John Podesta plan of 2020. We want to get everybody's thoughts on that. But Revan, why don't you go ahead and give us some of your thoughts? You're from California, a very liberal, pro-left state. What is the atmosphere there for you, my friend?
It's like every day, you know. People just try to live their life, go to work, just go to work, go to school, run errands, whatever they need to do. And yeah, California is a pro-left state, and counties are mostly red since last year.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the crowd chanting "No Kings" right now. But what I don't think a lot of people, especially those on the left, understand, and kind of give me your California perspective on this, Revan. The Constitution would never allow for anybody to circumvent the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and run for a third term, or even become a king in general.
There's never been here in the United States. There's never been never had a king, never had a monarchy, never had a parliament. All we have within the last 200 and nearly 250 years, we had a president, Senate, Congress. We're a republic, not a democracy. Ben Franklin made sure that we are a republic, not a democracy. Now it seems that the word democracy has been thrown around for years. even we're not.
Yeah. But what gets me is that, the government as it stands and the legislation that is in place, the Bill of Rights, Constitution, and so forth, would never allow for a king. And what I'm trying to figure out is what exactly has Trump done that people are so upset about and would insinuate that he is trying to be a king. Again, that's a good talking point for those who might be tuning in. What if any of you tuning in are from the left? Do tune in. What issues is it that Trump is doing, has said or done, that would lead people to believe that he is trying to be a king? Like legitimate issues here. We get last time around, it was more or less the immigration policies and the use of ICE. However, what most people are not understanding here is that ICE has been in existence since 2002. ICE was created by the Bush administration, not Obama, not Biden, not Clinton, most certainly not Trump. It was George W. Bush in 2002. And even at that, before that, we had very strong immigration legislation that was implemented by Bill Clinton himself, such as the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act in 1996, as well as the Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Rectification Act, and multiple enforcement initiatives as well. So this isn't a Trump thing. I mean, this has been going on since you and I were kids. These are much the same policies that have existed throughout the entirety of our lives. Reverend, you and I are in our mid to late 40s. We saw a lot of this stuff growing up. Why is it now an issue for people?
Well,
why are these same issues now an issue?
Because they're going after the younger generation, and since the older generation is going out, we're halfway there for our generation. They're targeting the younger millennials, Gen Zs, and Alphas.
Okay. But on that, I'm not even seeing very many young people here at this protest in general.
No, because
maybe people in our age demographic and some boomers. Quite a few boomers I see.
Yeah. It's that old. Yeah, they're there's boomers, but half of them don't want to get it. But why? My question is this. Okay, in that protest, you have what millennial? You have millennials, the older millennials. You have
maybe some Gen Xers.
Yeah.
I mean, I see very few young people. I see a pink shark and a polar bear. So.
It's the old saying is the old saying with us being divided we won't be defeated. Well,
together we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah. Divided we fall. I mean, we've been falling for the last forever.
Yeah.
And they want to keep this division happening because if we stay together, we're stronger. But they're using these policies that they create to keep people divided, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of different kind of signs here. Not just I love America, no kings, but also a lot of climate change signs. Make Earth great again, save our planet, climate change, it's not a hoax. There's a lot of different issues here that a lot of these people are taking, and I'm not sure what the hell that is. That's supposed to be a pumpkin as Donald Trump? That's hilarious. What is that? I think it's a paper mache. Sir, is that a paper mache? I can't even tell what that is. I know, but what's it made out of? Is it a pumpkin or a paper mache? I was kind of hoping for some Trump balloons. I want to see some baby Trump balloons, man.
Well, the thing is,
I mean, like Trump or hate him, nobody's going to deny those balloons were freaking funny. I guess George Soros wasn't funding this protest, which makes for a good sign. If George Soros didn't have his hand in this protest, I think we're safe, ladies and gentlemen. Because that's one big concern of mine and why I come out to these protests. Because a lot of these protests, the No Kings, Black Lives Matter marches, a lot of those were funded by George Soros. You'd have pallets of bricks shipped to the location of the protest and along the protest route. Make it for a very bad situation. And that is one thing that has concerned me. I don't see any pallets of bricks here. I don't see anybody that I would expect to really want to get into a violent confrontation. Most everybody here seems to be in a very good mood, very, very happy, very optimistic. So that is a good sign that this protest, at least in particular, is going to remain peaceful. Revan, have you seen any articles or anything, at least in recent, of anything popping off?
No.
No.
Well, one is from Tim Pool. ICE to infiltrate the No King protest. They want to cite violence. That was nearly an hour ago.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of issues regarding this. Let me backtrack on my notes here. I got quite a few notes that I've taken. Just yesterday, Don Lemon calls for Black and brown people to legally buy guns and shoot ICE agents when they come to their door. Now, if they are illegal migrants and they don't hold citizenship and don't have valid identification, they cannot legally purchase a gun. I am a gun owner myself. I don't have my gun with me, so if shit pops off, I'm a peaceful protester sitting on my butt in a lawn chair across from the protesters, and I'm not getting up. But as far as guns go, it's easy to get a gun if you have the right paperwork. But if you don't have citizenship, such as a valid ID, social security card, them able to run a background check on you, getting access to a gun becomes increasingly difficult. So most likely, if any illegal migrant obtains a gun, it would not be through legal channels. And at which point, Don Lemon, if the way he's talking is inciting violence against ICE agents who are just doing their lawful job. Again, ICE was an agency created in 2002. Okay, this isn't a Trump regime change thing. This has been in existence for over 23 years. So to attack federal agents in this capacity would be a very serious crime, and Don Lemon would be held liable. In addition, Chuck Schumer has said, what was it, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, that he said he wants to keep the government shut down until after the 18th to increase tensions. Again, part of the John Podesta plan of 2020 to incite a race-based civil war. Hence why we got movies like Civil War produced by Obama. Obama had a big hand in that movie. And we got a new movie coming out about blowing up government buildings starring Leonardo DiCaprio. That's getting a lot of promotion and a lot of attention as well. This new DiCaprio movie. So it's really being pushed. Last time around, this protest here was a very peaceful protest. You did have that one guy who shot up some politicians. They tried to blame it on Trump, and Alex Jones tried to say he was a big fan of Trump and Alex Jones. Come to find out, he actually worked for a Democratic politician.
Yeah.
I forget the name of the politician. Who was it that shooter worked for? Do you remember?
I'm thinking the politician was a Republican.
No, it wasn't a Republican. It was a Democratic politician who this kid worked for, and he shot his political opponents. He shot this person's political opponents. I guess maybe somebody was running against him on the Democratic side.
It happened on that ball field. They were doing a practice.
Yeah,
because about once a year, both parties get together and play baseball or softball.
Yeah. Was that at the last No Kings, or was that a separate incident?
It was a separate incident. It was like years ago.
Okay. So, that's another issue we have here. Multiple Democrats have called for violence. We've seen the majority of mass shootings, with the exception of 2, have been extreme leftists. Mostly, quote, Antifa, which Jimmy Kimmel says does not exist. Mostly trans people as of late engaging in these acts of violence. And I don't see any of those types of people here. I don't even see anybody here who would really relate to anybody like that. You walk around quite a bit around your hometown, Revan. What's the general feedback that you get in interacting with your community?
It's been mostly peaceful. Just about look at lives. Just about. It's basically we just try to not get serious on things where, things may happen in the long run down the line, but just everybody trying to live their life, man. But what makes it worse is you got these dumbass politicians that are so hung up on this power bullshit,
and that kind of seems what I see. People mostly are just relatively peaceful, trying to live their lives, like you said, just very chillaxed. But you got these politicians pulling this divide and conquer narrative. I kind of see it as Trump was the Republicans' Obama. Trump got elected kind of for the same reasons that Obama got elected, because people were tired of the way the government was going. We wanted effective change, and we wanted somebody who was actually going to do change. That's why we supported Obama in his first presidential run. That's why Trump won the popular vote every time he's ran, and why he's won his first and technically third presidential run.
Yeah.
Even though this is his second presidency. People want that change. They want somebody who can't be bought.
Yeah.
They want the horse that the globalists can't tame, and And many people, including Republicans, I would say, are getting maybe disillusioned because, the horse kind of does whatever the fuck it wants. And
the only
oftentimes doesn't even deliver on his own promises, as far as a lot of people are concerned. I'm independent media. Okay. We're independent media. We're covering. Last time around, when the police were here, they had this side for the Republican side and that side for the Democratic side. So,
you wanted to make sure it wasn't crossing no lines, but I see the shade.
I can't say that I blame you. Again, we're independent media. We're just here covering the protest. You hear a lot of rhetoric on both sides. There's a lot of tension on both sides. You got the Soros group who funds a lot of the violence and triggers a lot of people. People are at their breaking point, and all it takes is that one little push. We come out, try to, act as, maybe peacekeepers at the very least.
Do you have proof that Soros does that, or that's just what you?
The money has come from Soros and other NGO groups. A lot. Because the money has been traced.
You talk like a Republican.
I'm independent media. I would say I would call balls and strikes.
You're in a game that's way behind.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay. Again, a lot of hostility that doesn't need to be hostility.
You don't know if Soros funded it or not. You have no proof of that, so that shouldn't have been said. If you're
okay,
that's
well,
my opinion.
Well, again, I would like to go. Oh no, you're good, honey.
I better go with him or he'll be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We don't want to cause a marital spat. Again, talk about. You see where tensions are very high, and we want to keep. And I kind of threw that out there, kind of test the water and see where these people are at. And you see my point where tensions are relatively high when you say something that somebody doesn't like or somebody doesn't agree with. It's like, okay, the records have been traced. Soros has funded a lot of these protests, including the Black Lives Matter. All the bricks that showed up at Black Lives Matter were paid for by George Soros and his group and other NGOs. Okay, you have the proof. You have the money traced. And people don't want to hear that. They don't like that. And let's not mince words. A lot of people have grievances against Trump on both sides. And a lot of those grievances are legit. But a lot of the grievances that I do hear about are complete and utter rhetoric.
Yeah.
But again, you have people like Don Lemon on video publicly saying, oh, sorry, choking on a potato chip here. You got Don Lemon on video saying that blacks and browns need to go out and buy guns and shoot ICE agents that come to their door. Chuck Schumer says that he wants to keep the government shut down until after the 18th to increase tensions. We've seen these videos. We've seen the receipts of where these NGOs have paid for a lot of these major protests. And a lot of these people, they don't want to see that. They just want to hate Trump. And I can understand that. Trump does a lot of shit to piss people off. Okay, he's always been about shock value. He's always been about controversy creates cash.
Yeah.
And even as an independent calling balls and strikes, we see the tension is so high that an independent activist community is getting labeled as right-winger for pointing out what we see and what we hear and the concerns we have. And it's, oh, we can't be around you. Like, we're all just people.
We're all in this together, but the thing is, the machine has divided us, man.
Exactly. The people are divided. Right versus left, white versus brown, man versus woman. Everything is set as a divide and conquer narrative. And I talked about this yesterday on Tin Man TV, that it's part of the divide and conquer narrative. You keep the inmates, the guards keep the inmates pitted against each other so that they won't rise up against the guards. But my concern is rising up a warranted thing at this point? Is there a legitimate grievance? Are there legitimate issues that would suggest that Trump is trying to be a king? Or is he just doing things that every other president has done and the Democrat-elect are trying to stir up the masses, saying that it's unconstitutional and it's a fascist movement?
Yeah, they're trying to create their own utopia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of these people are citing Letitia James and a lot of these arrests as the Kickstarter for this in particular protest, the 18th No Kings protests. Letitia James has been indicted on bank fraud and making false statements regarding her mortgages on several of her properties. See a lot of police activity here. Last time around, we actually had police on site, not just driving around. So it's actually interesting to not see police posted up here this time around as in times past. Again, another one you got recently, John Bolton had to turn himself in. He's facing 18 charges of retaining classified documents. And a lot of people are saying that this is Trump's retaliation for what happened during his indictments, when he got indictment for Mar-a-Lago and his involvement with what was her name? Stormy Daniels?
Yeah. That would
a
be,
lot of people would argue that that's retaliation.
Yeah. He wanted a piece of the pie. I mean, the thing is, was there any evidence between her and Trump? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, like a lot of people are pissed off, saying that's retaliation and weaponizing the DOJ. And the thing is, the DOJ was actually sitting on most of these cases. You already had the grand jury indictments, according to public records. The grand jury indictments were just being sat on by the DOJ. And the reason things seemingly move so fast is because, again, the DOJ was sitting on these grand jury indictments, and Trump said, hey, do your job or you're fired. He kind of went apprentice on them. So that's why things move so fast. But I can see where Democrats are coming from and seeing it's like, oh, wow, these indictments seem to have happened overnight. The political process seems to be kicked into high gear. What's going on? I can see where a lot of people who aren't looking at both sides of the coin are going to be relatively concerned.
Yeah. Stormy Daniels was the second porn star that accused Trump of shit. The first one was Jessica Drake, and that was during his first run.
Well, the thing with Stormy Daniels is that it wasn't that he had slept with her that was the issue. It was the whole hush money thing. He had his lawyer pay her an exuberant amount of money.
Yeah.
And he paid back his lawyer the money. His lawyer paid Stormy Daniels some money, and then he paid back his lawyer in 40-something payments labeled as legal expenses because he was paying back his lawyer. He wasn't paying Stormy Daniels directly. He was paying back his lawyer,
Yeah.
who had already paid Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
And at which point he was charged. Each payment was an independent felony. He was charged independently for each transaction.
Yeah. But she was a second porn star.
Okay.
To
Okay, here's an interesting one. Here, listen to this. Release the files. Release the files. Here's the thing. If the Democrats actually had something on Trump, why didn't they release it instead of the Stormy Daniels and Mar-a-Lago thing? Why didn't they release those Epstein files when the Democrats had the files in their hands?
Exactly.
Okay? Why? Because there's nothing there. They had already destroyed all the files before Trump ever got back in office. Okay? When Epstein was arrested in 2019, that's when COVID kicked off.
Yeah.
So that there couldn't be an investigation into the matter.
Yeah.
And then the Biden administration got in, made sure all those files went bye-bye. And the only files that actually exist are in the hands of Mossad. So unless Mossad wants to release these files, there's really nothing to release except a bunch of rhetoric that says that Melania Trump worked for a modeling agency that was owned by Epstein, even though Epstein never owned a modeling agency. Trump owned modeling agencies. Epstein had different investments. He was not in the modeling business. Yeah,
I can agree. Those files need to be released, don't they?
Yeah, they do need to be released. I would agree. Trump needs to release the files regardless of what's in there.
I'm curious why Biden didn't do it either, though. That is kind of odd, don't you think?
Well, you figure there's Republicans and Democrats who were probably in those files. By the time it got to the DOJ and the FBI, Mossad already had their blackmail. So anything else?
I think largely we're in agreement. The Epstein files should be released.
Yeah, the Epstein files absolutely should be released. And even if there's nothing there, even if there's something there, release the files. Stop being an ass about it. You're just, if nothing else, he's implicating himself in an alleged cover-up. You know, he's not helping his own cause. Yeah. Yeah, but like a lot of people are saying, you know, Trump's in the files. You know, if that were the case, why didn't they release it when the Democrats were in office instead of the Mar-a-Lago and Stormy Daniels thing? That would have been the nail in the coffin that would have prevented Trump from ever getting back in office. Huh?
Where y'all from?
I work with the Worldwide Resistance Network. We're an independent political media, and we're out here covering the event. We look at both sides of the coin, call balls and strikes. If Trump does something good, we'll call it. If Trump does something bad, we'll hold his feet to the fire till he either get course correct or we have Kentucky Fried Trump.
Is this movement being sponsored by the Communist Party?
You're talking about the Soros funded and the
Communist Party of
NGOs?
the United States of America. Is there any relation to this No Kings in the Communist Party?
Are you talking about the protest or are you talking about
the movement in general, the No Kings movement?
Revan, do you have any insight on this? We know about Soros and NGOs funding this. We know about Democratic Party. Are you alluding to the Democratic Socialism thing?
Yes.
Yes.
So let me ask you something. So look, I think we all agree. No kings. We all agree on that, and we don't have a king, right?
No, we don't have a king, and there's nothing in the Constitution or Bill of Rights or any law that would ever allow it. And I don't think any American would ever allow it.
I don't think you're getting any pushback from that, do you?
No, I don't think. I don't think there's any pushback there.
But it's just a stone's throw from an oligarch, right? I mean, Soros, that's cool. His money gets to dictate everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's quite the narcissist. You know, his views have to be the worldview.
Yeah. So a king.
And we actually had a couple over here from the Democratic side. They were just trying to get some shade, and I brought that point up.
So
and they ran across that.
He would have imposed his will on the people. Is that what the assumption is?
I would assume that would be what their assumption is. I'm kind of wondering what legitimate issues, what has Trump done that people would call him the king?
And forcing people to mask up or lose their jobs. Was that a King Rock event, or is that something different?
Yeah, it's a double standard. It's like, oh, my body, my choice, until it came to the shot and the mask mandates. There's a lot
You
of double.
agree that was not cool.
That was not cool.
Okay,
All right, I'd go to work. I'd wear the mask over my eyes just to be a smartass.
but you don't think someone should be fired, right?
No, nobody should be fired or have their job threatened because of their political ideology or because they refuse to mask up over put a flimsy diaper on their face. I mean, you have face masks.
You're getting pretty close to the right side. You better be careful there.
Oh, I know. That's why that couple that was over here, they ran back to the other side. They're like, "You're sounding like a Republican." It's like, hey, I'm just calling balls and strikes. You know, Republicans have their points. Democrats have their points. Independents can look at both sides of the coin and say, okay, I see both sides of the issue. I want to know what your grievance is.
What is the grievance? What is the grievance?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What is the grievance? Why do people believe that Trump would be a king? And why are they opposed to a king when a lot of these people, if it were Obama who wanted to be a king, they'd be creaming their pants for it. I'm independent media. I'm with the Worldwide Resistance Network. We're independent political media. But would we not argue that if it were Obama who wanted to be a king, a lot of people on the left would be for it, correct?
Yeah, we haven't had a king since 1700.
Yeah, since before 1776, King George.
What the actual grievance is.
Yes.
And, and then being funded by George Soros, an oligarch, is not too far from the king-ish.
Yeah. Yeah, because who's he working for? The Rothschilds, Rockefellers, the 13 families. We got Trump giving money up the ass to Israel and funding the war in Ukraine, even though Zelensky's pretty much spat in Trump's face every time he's tried to make a deal. It's like, okay, Trump, I'll make deal. Hey, Ukraine, I know make deal. Hey, EU, you give me nuclear weapon now? Okay, how about more cocaine? You give me more cocaine now? I think Zelensky's a little shit. Yet we're funding him. I mean, I can see where some people would have an issue with Trump. That is an issue that I would take with Trump. Stop funding Zelensky. You're spitting in your fucking face and you're kissing his ass. That's a big cock. Hey, what we got going here? We got a giant chicken and a penguin. Oh, watch out for Mark Zuckerberg, the chain smoking penguin rapist. We got a penguin here. I gotta do it. Oi, jeez. Look at what we got here. That silly penguin's back again. It's too damn hot for a penguin to be just walking around here. I gotta get him back to the South Pole. Hey, now the guy's talking to a chicken. Okay. All right.
Not that much. You don't love our neighbors? Not right now. We're not. Just $50 billion down south.
All right. Saying we love our neighbors, but just a little while ago we had a Republican couple run back across the street because I was seemingly too pro-right. I mean, hey, kind of a hypocrisy.
Yeah.
I mean, at least they're pro-America now, at least in these terminologies. I mean, what was it? A few years ago, we had American flags being burnt and people taking a knee during protests and whatnot. I mean, so I would say that, being pro-America is at least a step in the right direction. Okay. See, these people, they don't know who their real enemies are. They don't understand that it's George Soros funding all this. They don't understand that it's Chuck Schumer saying, yeah, I want to keep the government shut down until the 18th to increase tensions. They don't understand all these issues. Like, I don't think a lot of these people have even heard a lot of these issues, Brevin.
No. They're all brain fogged, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you have one that sign that says talks about climate change and all that other bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, how many of these people actually heard that Don Lemon called for black and brown people to legally buy guns and shoot ICE agents when they come to their door? How many of these people remember that ICE was created in 2002 by George W. Bush?
Yeah.
Hey, Revan, do me a favor. Message Connor and see where he's at.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm logged out. I'm logged out of Messenger, so I can't do anything because if I go on the Messenger, I lose the feed. And the big thing, what a lot of people don't understand, what these people don't understand, is that Trump's not the one they need to worry about. They need to worry about the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the 13 families, the globalist cabal.
Not just that,
who are trying to.
Not just that, but the Ciabatta Jews, man.
Yeah. Just do that one.
They're up
Go
there.
like Alex Jones. Jew. I mean, and they, that's one thing I don't understand. Like, they sit there and call Trump and Republicans Nazis. But Trump is pro-Israel. The Nazis were anti-Israel. Like, how can you sit there and say that somebody who is pro-Jew and pro-Israel is a Nazi? That just does not make any sense.
Yeah.
How are you a fascist if you are using the same policies that were and the same systems that were put in place by Bill Clinton and George W. Bush? How are you a fascist or doing anything remotely unconstitutional? I mean, a lot of these people would sit there and cry about, the whole thing with deploying the National Guard. That's another point I want to bring up.
They have
They say it.
They have
Go for it, Robin.
They have to read the definition of fascism.
Yeah, and if anything, a lot of the behavior that we've been seeing from the left, the people getting kicked off their social medias, deplatformed, the Charlie Kirk shooting to shut him up and scare people into silence. What was it called? During the late Trump administration or early Biden administration, when cancel culture. Okay, that's kind of a fascist thing, and that was pro-left right there. Cancel culture,
woke culture.
Yeah. Well, I mean, woke culture is kind of a subjective term, but he's in there saying, the left are saying that people are trying to silence them. What about cancel culture? Okay. They say that Trump is weaponizing the DOJ against these people who are now being arrested. What about Alex Jones, who's still tied up in court and litigation, being sued for 2.3 million or 3.2 trillion? I don't think any independent media sources ever had that kind of money.
It was 1.4 billion.
Because it was 1.3 billion?
Yeah.
Okay, but even so, you name one independent media company that's ever had that much money.
Nobody.
Nobody's had that kind of money. All right, I don't even know that Soros has that much money. I mean, come on. You're going to sit there and say that Alex Jones
he is
has
a billionaire.
trillions of dollars?
Not trillion,
Okay.
but George Soros is a multi-billionaire.
Yeah, and now they're trying and to subsidize this debt. They're taking InfoWars, his media platform, in order to subsidize the debt, to satisfy the debt. InfoWars, the name, the studio, and the equipment isn't even worth more than maybe $20,000. Maybe the building might be worth a couple $100,000, but you're not even going to break $1 million with the building and the equipment, and
No.
even the website and the name. They just want to misrepresent his name, and they publicly said they want to misrepresent his name. They publicly said, what was it? Who is it that's trying to fucking buy up InfoWars? I forget.
That would be the Onion and
The Onion and Bloomberg. They said they want to misrepresent Jones. They don't care about the money. They want Jones off the air and to misrepresent his platform. And then when Charlie Kirk died, the same people said that they wanted to misrepresent Charlie Kirk after his death.
yeah.
Okay. It wasn't about the Sandy Hook families. It was about silencing your detractors, whether they be right or wrong. It's a free speech issue. And now that these people are getting arrested, they want to sit there and say that Trump's weaponizing the government. Okay, what about the alleged owner of MyPillow? MyPillow got sued. The guy who allegedly owned MyPillow, I forget his name. I can't remember his name off point. Just a few days ago, got sued, respectively, for questioning whether or not voting machines could be hacked. And a judge said that voting machines couldn't be hacked. Any computer could be hacked. Bill Gates can tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, he deliberately developed software to hack
Actually, he didn't.
people's computers and grant viruses so that he could sell anti-hacking and anti-spyware programs. Right?
Okay, we got Killer Rex messaging. I'm about to drive by the area with a Trump flag.
I'm about to drive by that area with a Trump flag. Okay? We are looking. I am not seeing anybody just yet.
That is from
Again, with the
Killer Rex.
release of the files, what do you think you're going to find in there? Okay? Everything in there was already long since deleted the second the FBI got their hands on it. $148. We do not see anybody with a Trump flag, guys. The Super Trooper. Do the snozberries taste like snozberries, Mr. Officer? Again, what do they expect to get out of the files? He should definitely release the files. I mean, he's just making himself look bad by not releasing the files.
I think the reason why they don't want the files to be released. I mean, they say release the files, but actually they don't because their name might be on the list.
Well, I mean, Trump's not doing himself any favors. He's making himself look guilty and making it look like there might actually be something in the files that would incriminate him by not releasing these files. I mean, the smartest thing he could do if he is not implicated in any child
Anything.
activity, I'm trying to avoid saying that word lest we get censored, but unless he is implicated on video with a child, there is no reason as to why he shouldn't release these files. Just do it. Shut up and do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Did we miss the guy with the Trump flag, maybe? I don't know.
Okay, we got WCNC.
Yeah. Wait, have we heard anything from Connor?
Uh,
Message him real quick. Find out what the hell's taking him so long.
He said around 9:05. Won't be much longer now. So.
All right, well, we'll be waiting for him.
Yeah.
Again, I sent the link to Louise to join the chat as well. I would love to get an international perspective on this because these things don't just affect the United States.
Everybody.
The way the rest of the world sees us is of vital importance as well. So we definitely want to get an international perspective. I would hope Louise can pop on and give us kind of her feedback from Scotland, and also Connor give us his feedback as our Canadian neighbor to the north.
Okay, we got a from WCNC.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us here on WCNC Plus. This is a special edition of Live Impact News on WCNC Plus because today we're talking about hundreds of people. Am I underestimating that number, Jeff, when I say hundreds of people?
I think we're talking thousands nationwide, okay.
Millions nationwide, thousands here locally. Let's take a look at the shot. We have No Kings protests happening throughout the area, and as Jeff just mentioned, throughout the country, millions protesting. This is a live look. This is a view from up high at First Ward Park. This is just one of the protests, one of the rallies happening. And so you may be asking, look, what is No Kings protest?
Is this the one in Chicago?
You heard about it in June.
It's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. So they got quite a big turnout over there in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I know that Hart Fisher is in Chicago. I wonder if maybe he's out there covering the No Kings protest in Chicago or wherever he might be. I'm gonna reach out to him later and kind of get his feedback. Maybe have him come on the roundtable on Monday, and we'll maybe do a follow up and after the dust settles.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Reverend, you used to work for Toys R Us. There's Jeffrey the Giraffe.
Oh, you bastard. Well, that was nearly 30 years ago, man.
I know. I mean, I miss things like Toys R Us, man. I mean, this world has definitely changed since we were younger. I mean, I can't say that I would definitely say I prefer the way the world was back in the 90s. I mean, I would say I was probably more of a left-leaning back in the 90s. I would say I'd be more of a 90s Democrat ideology more than I would a today's right-wing ideology. I mean, I'd definitely say I'd be a 90s Democrat, maybe.
I wasn't
definitely a civil libertarian at this point.
I wasn't anything. I wasn't really into politics back in the 90s. I was more into sports, video games, that shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can definitely agree that it's definitely a different world today than it was back when we were growing up back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
I mean, we're kind of the tail end of Gen X here and the MTV generation.
Yeah.
I mean,
I grew up in the late. I was born in the late 70s. Grew up in the early into the 80s, throughout the 80s, and then the early 80s was kind of okay, pretty good,
yeah.
I was into the nostalgia of the 80s, the early 80s.
Oh, hell yeah. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
I was a big fan of MTV. I watched MTV every day. I was like,
yeah, I mean, MTV doesn't even have music videos on it anymore.
No.
I mean, they really should change their name. They're misrepresenting.
I remember in the 80s that the the young ones, which was a show based in England, which was created by the late Rick Mayall, was syndicated on MTV.
Calm down, Smokey.
And
Like I wasn't breathing enough carbon monoxide fumes.
oh shit.
Well, I mean, you know, I just recently got my car fixed because of that freaking gas fumes leak from the fuel filler hose. I'm still recovering from that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you hear me coughing up my lungs, I don't have COVID or anything. I'm just kind of recovering from what would more or less be toxic shock
Yeah.
and carbon monoxide poisoning. Yeah, I see very few young people here. It's mostly like people from our generation and boomers.
All right, we got one from Chicago.
My God, is the Jules Pro strut
Oh, you got a feed from Chicago? Beautiful.
for life only.
Tell me what you got.
Yeah, it looks like there's about 100 people there.
Okay. I mean, even at a 16% approval rating, that's still, if you look at the number of bodies, that's a lot of people. Even 16%, if you figure 16% of Americans still support Democrats, that's still a big number of people. I mean, especially in one area. I mean, here you probably have maybe a couple hundred. I don't even know that it's as many as it was last time. Again, we are live at the Winchester, Tennessee No Kings protest, October 18th, broadcasting live on the corner of College and 2nd Street in Winchester, Tennessee. It's actually a really nice day. You got a bit of cloud cover, but it's a fairly nice day. And I left my car at home this time because it's within walking distance, so I'm not going to lock myself out of the car again. But for anybody tuning in, comments are enabled. Feel free to join in the conversation.
Were you guys able to cut
Our thoughts here. What is the legitimate grievance against Donald Trump that would make people think that he's trying to be a king? What is the Republican Party doing that is so fascist?
At first, they're happy that they're getting him back as president, but all of a sudden, it's a repeat of the first administration. You know.
Yeah. His son may choose to run. I'm not sure that he'll be as popular as his father, or he'll be, or have the same kind of charisma that sells as his father does. I mean, he could try, but I'd say it'd still be a coin toss as to whether or not he'd actually get elected in place of his father. A lot of people think that J.D. Vance is going to run and that Trump will be his running mate, and then Vance would step down, allowing Trump to run or not run, become the sitting president again. Or that Trump would actually be president from the vice president position. And I don't know that he actually can do that.
No, because the 22nd Amendment was passed because of Roosevelt.
Yeah. And didn't Congress pass legislation back in, what was it, maybe the the 1800s, saying that no sitting president can run more than 2 terms?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a congressional legislation plus the legislation that Roosevelt passed. Okay, so you have a lot of things that would prevent Donald Trump from ever becoming king. So I kind of think this whole no kings thing is kind of a moot argument. I can understand how people would see that Trump might be trying to act like a dictator, especially if you're not fully informed. But there's no way in hell he can actually circumvent the Constitution and make himself an indefinite leader. He can't do it.
No.
It's just impossible. And a lot of people are citing, the use of, not just issues with ICE and immigration, which, again, ICE has been in existence since 2020 or since 2002, and a lot of the immigration legislation we have stemmed from the Clinton administration and the first.
Exactly. Because Roosevelt served 14 years. Nearly 14 years. Okay, Connor's here, guy. Dude. Hey, brother. Connor's here.
In 2002. Say again? Connor's here. Connor is here. Yay, Connor. Welcome.
Good evening, gentlemen. Good afternoon and good night. Welcome to the Truman Show. Got myself something to drink. So have the riots broken out yet? There's a lot of people standing on the other side of that street. You're not nervous, Tin Man?
Whoa, what the heck happened?
I showed up.
Yeah. It's like, the anti-Israeli Canadian is here. Cut the feed.
Cut the feed. There's a lot of people standing in front of him. This could get dangerous. Don't let him speak.
Yep. Yep.
See, this is what Charlie Kirk said.
I've been given a lot of commentary. We talked a lot about why there are a lot of issues. We actually had some people from the left come over here to get some shade, and then when they decided they didn't like what I had to say, went back over to their side.
Go stand in the heat. It's up to them. They could have made peace and everybody could have been cooling off and chilling, but no, they have to go and sit in the heat and catch heat stroke and make people feel bad about them.
Where do Canadians sit with America right now? Like, what is the Canadian perspective of the United States and its people and its government right now?
Y'all are gonna be okay. It's just it's a very tumultuous and scary situation because it's one of those situations where outside looking in, you're like, oh my goodness, that is so bad. But like when I just kind of tuned in earlier, it was like the area of time when you were discussing, like, even though it appears though Donald Trump is trying to be a dictator or so on and so forth. So this is what I've been noticing with the great country of the United States. Is have you guys noticed that? And it's almost like in French it would be called a sous-entendu, which means it's just something that is understood. There would be no rule, no regulation, no nothing. It would just be a thing that happens, and it's just a mere noticing. Every time the red is in power in the White House or in the Senate or in the whatever, insert power structure of choice, right? But when the red is in power, I find the blue is really, really predominantly available on the media. But then when blue is in power, red is very predominantly available on the media outlets. which is like, it's almost like the media and the government shake hands where it's like, okay, you have the power.
So I'm thinking maybe that his TV and his equipment might be interfering with our feed. So I'm going to move up over here. There. So
You good?
yeah, I just think that maybe that cop's TV might be interfering with my Wi-Fi. So I move over here. I'm going to be in the sun, which is going to suck, but here I am. Closer, give us, closer view.
Right? And kind of returning to what I was saying was that it's just, it appears, and it's really just an appearance, but it appears as though regardless of what political party is in power at the time, the media will side with the opposing side, like almost like it just doesn't matter. Like as soon as the decision is made, we're going with that other side, which I find interesting because in the Canadian politics, although it is divided in four, the two first ones are the ones that you want to grab, right? Because the first place, obviously, is the one that runs the nation. That makes sense. And then second place, when the second place winner wins in Canada, it's actually viewed as a win, not as a loss. Like second is the first in the long line of losers kind of situation. Well, in Canada, the second place person, it's a win because they won the seat of the official opposition. Okay. So if the winning party is of the right, you would hope that the official opposition would come from the left. But see, just like you guys and me and everybody else, we've all been kind of noticing that it's like we have extreme left and extreme right. And then there's like nothing in the middle. Well, in Canada, what I've noticed is that we have a political party that's on the extreme on both sides, and then two other parties that are like, they're in the same side of the battlefield, but they're the ones that, but we're just not as crazy as those guys over there. Yeah, we believe that this and this and this is the same, we believe, but we wouldn't go to this extent to enforce it. Or so like the moderate left or the moderate right, which I don't believe is actually represented in a reasonable fashion in the United States, because inside the moderate left and inside the moderate right is what me and you would call normal people.
Yeah.
Right. But once we start discussing far right and far left, which it appears, again, only an appearance, it appears as though the American political structure has decided to, the red represents the far right and the blue represents the far left, but the red could choose to represent the moderate right and the left could choose to represent the moderate left. And then, you know what I mean? Then we could shake hands a little bit easier in the center line of the aisle because we're not asking for two members of extreme oppositions of each other to make peace. We're asking the moderates to do it for us.
Okay, Connor, real quick. When I cut out, are you guys still live?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I don't know what's going on. Ever since that cop pulled up behind me, I've had some issues with my feed. I don't know what it is, but I keep cutting out. I'm trying to find a good area to where I can sit and cover the protest and get good signal.
It's okay. If you get shot, I'll start the conspiracy theory before your heart stops beating. It's good. We got you.
All right. I'm going to say it right now. If I get shot, it's going to be by the polar bear because I wanted a Slurpee.
Man, oh, see.
You don't see the polar bear?
The polar bear will do you in, bud.
Okay, there's the polar bear. Behind him is a shark. Back there, somewhere, there's a giant cock. Somebody's got a giant cock, and there's a penguin. And somewhere there's a dinosaur. There's a dinosaur somewhere, too.
There's always got to be a dinosaur. There's got to be a bouncy castle eventually.
You know what? I don't care what anybody says. If somebody busts out a bouncy castle, Stream's over. I'm taking off my shoes. I don't care how old I am. I'm 41 years old. I don't care how old I am or what the hell's going on. I'm going in the bouncy castle.
So this is what the this is how the Worldwide Resistance Network protests in the near future. We go get bouncy castles and we set them up in the middle of the street. That's how you disrupt traffic.
Yes, we need a bouncy castle. We got a lot of people from the local area tuning into the feed. Somebody bring me a bouncy castle.
Make it worth
We'll
it.
set it up right here in the middle of the street.
Because it's the art of protest. It's not like the problem is that what people don't understand is that the action of protesting is protected under the American Constitution, the freedom of speech, so on and so forth, right? But
yes,
we live in a society whereas it's really only the outrageous that get heard when they're utilizing the art of protest. For instance, it reminds me of the old lady who explained to the young woman that there's nothing wrong with taking off your clothes as long as you knew how to do it in the right place. And she had explained how she had done that during an action of protest, and that the act of getting undressed in the area that she was doing it the way that she was doing it and explaining the message she was explaining was too outlandish for the time. It was too, oh my God, look what happened. It was too shock and awe for the message to go unheard or unexamined. There we go. That's what she didn't just say something. She said something, people heard it, and they looked into it. And that's what protest is supposed to make you do. It's supposed to make you stop, look, and listen. And then after that, you tend to go and figure the rest out for yourself. But protest is actually a very uncomfortable action. When done properly, it's a very uncomfortable action. You're supposed to stop the traffic. The people in the cars are supposed to be pissed off. They're supposed to walk away with the emotional context of those fucking protesters. Yeah, but what were they protesting about? I don't know, some shit about Palestine. And before he was stuck in that protest, or the No Kings, or before that guy or girl was stuck in that traffic and lineup with the protest, they had no idea that the issue that was being protested about was an issue at all. Which is literally the point. Like that's the point of protest, is to bring awareness to the issue. It's sad because in Canada and the United States, we live in La La Land, right? We live in a fairy tale world where we believe that if we just petition the congressman, petition the statesmen, petition the prime minister, so on and so forth, write the good letters with all the intricate words and so on, that we'll be taken seriously, and that our wishes will be granted instead of our wishes becoming demands, and so on and so forth. So, but we believe that that's the society that we live in. On a grand scale too. There, like the citizens of Canada, the citizens of the United States believe that if you adequately make a petition, send it to the government, all that stuff, that your voice will be heard. And what people are realizing is like the reason why protests are erupting on both sides of the border in almost every city for the large, major, key international issues is because we're beginning to believe that our petitions aren't being heard, that our letters are not being read, that our political leaders are not representing the individuals in the neighborhoods that he put them there to begin with, which is what brought us to this No Kings protest, where it's like it feels like inside, although we have a democratic process for the United States and Canada, it feels like that every time the election is done, all we did was just elect in the new king.
Yeah.
It sucks. And all of this, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, last time around, when you and I were out here, Connor, the two biggest issues were, National Guard and immigration. And I could agree wholeheartedly that, there does need to be adequate immigration reform. The whole, what was it, $1 million application fee or whatever that Trump instituted? Okay, that's fucking ridiculous. Okay, so I do see where there are legitimate issues of concern and grievance. That $1 million application fee for citizenship is absolutely fucking ridiculous. You need a fair and simple immigration policy.
So from what I
People
understand
that
with
come
that,
into the country lawfully, I would agree wholeheartedly with that.
from what I understand with that $1 million, it sounds like the $1 million visa thing has been spun, because when I heard that, it wasn't a $1 million application. It was a fast track, for lack of a better word. So in essence, if I want, let's pretend I want to go to the United States, and I want to live there. I want to open a business, and I'm not numbered amongst the downtrodden, right? So I actually have financial capital in my bank account. Okay, let's pretend
Yes.
that's a version of me that exists, and I want to go to the States. Donald Trump says, yeah, but it's going to take like fucking 5 years for you to get your citizenship here, because it's a long line, a long wait. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, President Trump, I can't afford 5 years of lost business. And I really think that your country could benefit of this product that I'm trying to put together. I'm trying to put it together in your country. So how about I guarantee you that when I move into your country, I guarantee you that I'm going to spend $1 million in your country. So I'm going to inject $1 million into the American economy. And Donald Trump says, are you ready to put that in writing? And I say, actually, you know what? How about I just give you $1 million, so you already have $1 million for your economy, and you just give me a Visa card that I can spend that $1 million into your American economy. If I want McDonald's, if I want Walmart, if I want whatever, I can use the card to go and do what I have to do. If I want to buy a building for the business, if I want to buy a vehicle, if I want to buy anything, I'm buying all American. And I've already given you the money. You've given me the card. Can I please come into the United States and conduct business? There was a time when that was not allowed. And that's Donald Trump said that it was stupid that all of these people from all of these different countries that actually had money, that wanted to invest in the country to help the country's economy grow, that although it sucks that people are already lined up trying to get into the country illegally and do all of these things, in this one particular situation, that person being stuck in immigration's lineup is actually hurting the United States as well as hurting the potential new immigrant, because this is so racist to say out loud, and I do apologize to the general public, but within the individuals that are seeking to immigrate inside of the United States, it is busted up into varying degrees of differences. You know, we have asylum seekers, refugee seekers, right? These people don't have a whole lot to bring to the nation. Yes, colorful character and culture, and if it's a child, like they're going to grow up in the United States, they're going to have freedom. They're definitely going to bring something to the table. Like, I don't want to sound like some ignorant guy that doesn't believe a human being is worth something. That's not the angle that I'm pushing here. But the other side of the people trying to get into the country are people that can bring investment, innovation, business, job creation, all of that fucking mumbo jumbo political speech. And these guys are held up at the border with the refugee people. And Donald Trump made it so that investment could come into the country at a more rapid rate than, well, for lack of a better word, what Donald Trump did is he made it that with the immigration system, how it is currently working now, it is designed to take more money into the American economy opposed to putting more money out of it. So, for instance, if everybody had to just wait their turn, and which is the right thing, I'm not going to say like it's not proper. If everybody had just waited their turn, we would bring in a couple thousand refugees that would begin to remove resources from the economy before the administration would ever come across their first billionaire trying to invest money into the economy. So the way it used to work,
It's kind of a double-edged sword in
really
a lot of ways with like what you're talking about.
And that's what he said.
I don't know the dynamics of a lot of legislation that gets put forth. That's one grievance that I do have, is that legislation is so fucking convoluted and so wordy. I mean, you got 10,000-page legislations for simple laws. It's like, okay, you got to have a 10,000-page legislation that passes a law that says you can't jaywalk across the street.
And the
Just say
people,
one page, don't jaywalk across the street or you get a ticket.
the
Simple.
people responsible for writing those laws and that legislation, like that problem that you're bringing up, like which is 100% valid, that those people are the people that Elon Musk was firing. Because they can't just fire government workers. The hell you can. Of course you can. If you're making 10,000 fucking worded laws that no one understands, that's a fail at your job.
I got a giant cock coming my way.
Oh, look at that. Chick-fil-A.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm looking at a sign. I'm not sure if you can see it. It says, to quell a lawless leader, call the National Guard. But isn't that one of the, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that one of the grievances that the left have, is that Trump was utilizing the National Guard, saying that it violates posse comitatus? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes or no?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're saying, but from what I understood, the entire reason why the National Guard exists is so that, now I could just be making this up, because maybe what I'm about to say is just a really fluffy way of believing how it works, right? But I was always under the impression that the American National Guard existed so as to not violate posse comitatus, because posse comitatus says you cannot utilize the American military branches against the American civilians. So you cannot use the Army, you cannot use the Navy, you cannot use the Air Force
Or the Marine.
on citizens and or the Marines, right? But we have the National Guard that everybody likes to believe is like a member of the United States military. But if I'm not mistaken, the National Guard is the highest level of quote unquote policing law enforcement.
Yeah.
Like I think they're above the cops and below the lowest rank of a military grunt. Like I think that's where they're located.
Yeah. And they want to act like Trump doing this, utilizing the National Guard in Chicago and other places, and Los Angeles and DC and other places, is some sort of criminal thing. But here's the thing. I actually looked it up. Just since the 1950s, here's a list of presidents who have utilized the National Guard on American soil. Eisenhower, 1957. John F. Kennedy, 1962 and 1963. Lyndon B. Johnson,
weren't those
65, 67, 68.
Weren't those put out to protect protesters, though, not used against them? Isn't there some of those instances where the National Guard was called out in order to protect the rights of the protesters from the police?
I do believe so. I do believe so. Nixon in 1970, he deployed the National Guard. George Bush Sr., Herbert Walker Bush, he deployed the National Guard in Los Angeles during the LA riots in 1992. His son, George W. Bush, deployed the National Guard in 2005. Obama deployed the National Guard twice, once in 2010 at the U.S.-Mexico border, and in 2015 in Baltimore, Maryland. And also Joe Biden deployed it on Jan 6th.
Right.
So it's not an unconstitutional thing to deploy the National Guard on military soil where it is warranted.
No, exactly. What they can't do is use a Tomahawk missile on Montana. What they can't do is use a nuclear missile from a submarine that belongs to against New York. Right? They can't send a battalion of army guys into Salt Lake City. Like that's what posse comitatus is that you cannot use military assets, military training, military personnel against the civilians, the very people that pay taxes and pay their wages.
Yeah, you can't boomy your populace.
Right. It's quite legitimately for once. It literally means you cannot bite the hand that feeds you. The military is fed by the money of the taxpayers, and they cannot hurt the taxpayers. But they can hurt anybody else on the planet on behalf of the taxpayers.
Yes. Now, that's an entirely other issue in and of itself, but we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, I learned something about AIPAC. AIPAC. I know this is no kings and stuff, but I figured something out.
Yeah.
AIPAC stands for American Israeli Political Action Committee.
Yes.
That's what it stands for. There's a reason why the A is first.
Oh.
And there's a reason why AIPAC is not registered under FARA.
Do tell.
In order for something to qualify as something to be registered under FARA, it has to belong to a foreign nation. You with me on this?
Yes.
Okay. So if I go to the United States and I start a Canadian American Political Action Committee, and I own it, and I'm a Canadian citizen, and I have it on American soil, I have to register with FARA. Okay, that's how it works.
Okay.
But if you like me, if you like Canada, and you want to do an American Canadian instead of a Canadian American, if you want to do an American Canadian political action, you're an American citizen and you're doing it inside your own country. It's not foreign at all. So AIPAC is
the more you know.
It's not foreign. It's a bunch of American citizens that need to be tried for treason.
See, and a lot of people here, like, I didn't even know this, and if I didn't know this, I guarantee you most people here probably don't know this.
That's what AIPAC is. That's why it's like it is 100% totally. Yes, it is the Israeli lobby. Absolutely, it is. But it's a bunch of Americans labeling the American government on behalf of Israel. It's not the Israeli government lobbying the American government, and that's the catch-22 in this war of words situation.
So basically, it's just Americans engaging in these activities under the mask of Israel.
Yeah, it's Americans that like Israel. It's if you agree with Israel,
nothing wrong with liking Israel. You know, again, I have Jewish ties. My uncle is Jewish by marriage. I used to work public relations for Temple Beth Em in California for Rabbi Marie. I love the Jewish people. But I can definitely say that BB Shittin' is definitely not a very nice person, and there's good reason as to why he's wanted for war crimes in several countries.
Well, what's happening now, and now it's really becoming to be full circle here. We're inside the part of history where, like, when Adolf Hitler went and shot himself in his bunker, or so they say, right? It's because they got to a certain point inside the conflict where there was no out. And that's where Nintendo Yahoo is right now. If he's no longer Prime Minister of Israel, he's going to go up on war crimes and other corruption charges, and he's going to jail, even if it's only for 10 years. Motherfucker's going to jail. And he knows this. The only way he stays out of jail is if he remains Prime Minister. The only way he remains Prime Minister is if the nation is in a state of war. If it's no longer in war, if the nation is in a state of peace, then elections resume.
Yeah.
Well, here's one thing is that if they indict him, if the world, if the ICC, the International Criminal Courts have him, indict him, you have over 160 countries that wants his guy fried.
One of them's going to hang him. One of them's going to hang him.
Then you have the United States.
The best thing Hamas could ever do, stop shooting.
Yep.
Because if Hamas stops shooting and there is no war, which is, I think, what's slowly starting to happen, because now the world has caught on to the fact that it's a genocide, so like everybody's kind of paying attention. So Hamas is
peaceful resistance is what you're referring.
Yeah, they just have to not shoot, and as long as Hamas proves that they want peace, and Israel keeps pushing and showing that they don't want it, it's no longer going to be a Israel thing anymore. It's going to be a Netanyahu thing, which is what the world needs. The world needs it to be a one guy, bad guy. The world needs a bad guy that they can hang and say, okay, the world's atrocities are done. The world does not want to hang that on a population,
No.
right? Like it's
And we can definitely agree. You don't want to blame the entire populace for the actions of one's government, whether
No,
it be a government as a whole or a government in part by an individual.
it's like what we're doing is exactly what Israel's not doing. Okay, so when they say, like, this is the example: if there's a bad guy in a theater and he's shooting it all up, and the police arrive, and the police say, okay, well, I can shoot him, but I have to shoot all of these kids first before I can get to him. Well, any rationally minded adult says, okay, well, there's a bunch of children there. Yeah, we know. Yeah, well, you're going to have to work around that. You're going to have to make this work in your favor without hurting them. I know this is hard. This is why it's your job, not mine. So,
Yeah.
right? Well, what we got to do now is the same exact thing with Netanyahu and Israel. We have to separate Netanyahu from the Israeli people. Otherwise, it's going to be Hiroshima all over again.
It will, and it's much the same issue with Zelensky in Ukraine. I mean, how many times? Okay, Trump, I'll take deal. Hey, Ukraine, I no take deal. You give me more cocaine now? Wait, come on, give me more money. I need to buy a new stripper pole. I broke the last one.
And
yes,
now
I know it was 400 pounds, but you know what? It was a good time. When you're high, you're high.
Right. And the big power play here will be to have Israel antagonize Iran hard enough to make Iran strike Israel hard enough to make the United States respond to Iran, which will force Iran to respond to the United States, which will place the United States in a state of active war, which will keep Trump as your king, no longer your president.
Yeah, and of that, there is legitimate concern, which is good that he's trying to de-escalate these conflicts. But again, I don't know that a lot of people, especially people who are across the street and engaging in these protests, are aware of these dynamics. They just see what's right in front of their face. But I don't know that a lot of people really see or even sit down and look at the bigger picture and go, okay, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. It's like
fight theory.
Like we all seen the commercial about the matches where the one match gets lit and you got a row of matches and one match lights the other, lights the other, lights the other, lights the other. And the match down the road, he's looking at it and going, oh shit, I'm going to catch on fire. So he jumps out of the line and the fire stops. People don't understand that that's how cause and effect work. It's not just action and then reaction. It's the reaction also is a reaction in and of itself and causes another action and another action and another action.
And it's always escalatory. Like we see it with policing powers. Okay, so for instance, when I say it, it's not going to sound like a whole lot at first, but it's fucking horrendous. Okay, it means that the police have the ability to use equal force plus one.
Yes.
Right, and that's huge. Equal force plus one is huge. And it means that if I come after you with my fist,
hey Connor, hush. Yeah. Connor, hush. We got somebody speaking. We're gonna try to cover that a little bit here.
I'm the Twitter girl saying, what if the Congress Tennessee did before what they did?
This is the same lady as last time?
Yes. Can you guys hear her okay?
A little bit.
You deserve better. Representation needs to represent. Needs to be a politician. Fighting for a veteran. Fighting for every single person. They taxes from out and represent their great I'm going to do it again. It's going to be the way we go to the next. Is what you fight for. You don't represent us. I want to see more of.
Is there a reason why you're not across the street and in the action?
Because a lot of these people have decided that I am not pro-left enough. So I'm trying to avoid inciting any sort of hostilities.
Oh, but that's where all the views are.
Yeah, but I'd really rather not be the trigger point that triggers a civil war.
So, like, you strapped there with an AR-15 would be a bad idea, is what you're saying.
Say again?
So, if you were standing there with an AR-15, it would be a bad idea.
Yeah, well, I made it a point of leaving my gun at home because I'm not an idiot.
But is
we
this?
want to try to promote peaceful protest. But
Yeah.
she is repeating a lot of the same talking points that she talked about the last time that we filmed her. That she's again running for Congress and hitting the same bullet points that she did last time around.
Yeah.
I think it's her campaign that might actually be funding this in particular protest and maybe other protests in the area.
Yeah.
I don't think this would be a Soros funded protest as much as it would be her campaign funding.
Then we have to ask, where does her campaign get the money, right?
Yeah.
But that's always the game. It doesn't matter who it is. This isn't an attack against her at all, because any politician, it's the natural due diligence that we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, and when we interviewed her last time around, and the things she's talking about now, I cannot honestly say I disagree with a lot of the bullet points that she's hitting. Okay?
No, she's trying.
We need to look out for our farmers. Absolutely. Why the hell does Bill Gates in China own the majority of our farmland in the United States? Yeah, I can agree with her. You need to look out for the farmers in that regard. Okay? The immigration reform. We need to simplify entry into this country to where, it's lawful, stern, but fair.
I spoke to my mother about this yesterday, and it's hilarious because when we were discussing our immigration policy, because I was like, Mom, I said, I wasn't raised to be a racist kid or anything of the nature. I was like, so I have to be careful how I explain how I feel. I was like, but is it too much to ask? And I think the Americans, they're asking for the same thing. Is it too much to ask? You see that front door there that we welcome them in. It's the right and proper Canadian thing to do. I said, Mom, I don't want to close the door. I said, that's not right. I was like, but is it too much to ask that the back door, the door where we send them home when they misbehave, right? Could we have that door be equally as large, or maybe even just a little bit bigger, in order to speedy up the process? I got nothing wrong with bringing in thousands of immigrants, but once we've discovered that there's criminals amongst them, and I don't want to start sitting here and start saying 60, 70, stupid, nonsensical statistics, I will just willingly agree that with a large influx of human beings, that there is a possibility that there's a few of them that may very well be criminal in mind. It's just the math.
Yeah, you want to be careful about who you let into your house.
Right, and then once you figure it out.
We do got a lady here who would like to ask us a question. Sam, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I've been over there on the other side with the protesters, and you've been sitting over here with your phone, taking pictures and recording. And I'm just wondering who you are and what you're doing. That's all.
I work with the Worldwide Resistance Network. We are an independent political media activist group. we're just out here covering the protests, live streaming.
Worldwide Resistance.
Yeah, Worldwide Resistance Network.
Okay. So you go around recording protests. And
We
broadcasting?
cover protests. We cover a lot of local events. We're worldwide. The gentleman that was just speaking,
Yeah.
he's actually up in Canada right now.
Wow.
Another gentleman we have, his name is Revan. He's out in California. And we also have other people that come around from around the world. We just recently interviewed Louise Megan, international supermodel who lives in Glasgow, Scotland. So we're worldwide. We try to cover issues, be bipartisan, and look at things from an independent perspective and, call balls and strikes. If somebody on the left does something good or bad, we'll call it out. Same as with the right. We believe that there's good and bad in everything as far as the individual is concerned, and even in every organization. We, like you guys, want accountability. We see a lot of things, especially on the international level, that need to be addressed. Like you guys are addressing a local federal issue. We also tackle international issues.
Well, I think we're for national and international because of what Trump does.
Yeah.
What our country does affects international things.
Absolutely. And that's one of the reasons why we got our Canadian counterpart on right now, because we want to get his perspective and the Canadian perspective. They're our neighbors. So it's like, okay, what does Canada and even the rest of the world think of the United States and what's going on?
Where do you broadcast?
We are broadcasting live. We broadcast on X, YouTube, and on Rumble at Real TWWRN. And you can find us there.
Card?
We do not have a card on us. Again, we're independent media. We generally...
So you don't have a base anywhere?
My kitchen.
No, we are worldwide.
Okay. All right. Thanks for your explanation. I appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Good day.
You too. Thank you.
Without a world base, you have nowhere to send a cease and desist order, you see.
Exactly.
I think
no base means I can't be swatted.
Nope. It's decentralized, and a lot of people, if they understand it and like it, they jump on board right away. If they don't understand it, they'll ask and probe more questions. But if they understand it and don't like it, they tend to fizzle away, because then they realize this is bigger than me.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they don't really understand that this is a lot bigger than the Orange Man. It's like saying, okay, you have your civil war. Say you win and you depose the Orange Man. Did you depose the power behind the throne? Did you depose the man behind the curtain, the globalist elite, the cabal? No, they're still there, untouched. You didn't take out the puppet master. You just took out the alleged puppet. That's where I'm at. It's kind of hit or miss. Why I would say I'm independent and a civil libertarian, because you have to ask, is Trump a self-serving jackass? Maybe not necessarily a king, but is he furthering the globalist agenda, or is he combating it and just maybe in over his head?
The protest was inadequately named. It should have not been called No Kings. It should have been called No Strings.
I like that. No strings.
I said no
Cut
strings.
the strings on the puppet politicians.
Yes. And No Kings, it's like, it's so 1920s or whatever the fuck, when the Kings was actually the problem. Right now,
for us, that would be before 1776.
Right? So what's the real problem? The real issue, it's political puppets. It's not kings at all. It's strings. It's the strings are the problem, not the king. Maybe the strings are attached to the king, but if we cut the strings, that part's not going to matter anymore. Just like they did in 1776.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't believe that we could be in an Oz type scenario where we're just looking at a big head and they're shooting at the big head. They're screaming at the big head, and the man behind the curtain's just laughing his ass off.
Oh, and I think I
A lot
know
of
why.
people don't see and understand that.
I think I know why the New World Order government platform also is just inadvertently satanically evil. Here, play with me on this one. Play with me on this one. Imagine
Go for
that
it.
you're a very intelligent political science person, and we're going to throw in a very intelligent banker, and then we're going to throw in some intelligent guys and girls that know how to like build societies, the social engineers and things like this. We're going to get them all together, right? They're like, okay, we're going to build this system. Well, the only thing that these people thoroughly understand, even though they may not be religious in nature, is that inside of society, there's finance, political power, and religion. And if they wanted to build a society that would be easily molded into, like that we would easily just kind of waltz into, it would have to look somewhat similar to what we're used to: money, political, and religion. So when they decided to do all of this, and like, okay, well, we don't really care, so which religion do we choose? I'm really starting to think that they just decided to go with the Jews because of what happened during Adolf Hitler's Germany. I'm starting to believe that these guys just chose Judaism as a religion for the New World Order as a sympathy play, and they were had. And now look at the world that we look at today. What if the people that designed this global conglomerate made a mistake and chose the satanic religion instead of a peaceful one? They could have picked Hinduism and got better luck on it. Just putting that out there. They could have picked anything. Buddhism would have had a better shake at the fucking worldwide governing aspects.
Well, you know, like the Muslims, they kind of just are not the Muslims, the Hindus and the Buddhists. Buddhism is what I was going with, not Muslims. Buddhism tends to stick to itself.
It's
and
like
you have spiritualism, which is encompassing of Hinduism and Buddhism, and it tries to incorporate Christianity into it, even though they're polar opposites in ideals. You can't have a heaven and an eternal rest, a concept of eternal rest or eternal damnation, and also have reincarnation, unless Earth is hell.
That's not a far escape. People have thought of that many times. That it's just one of the few spots that you go for the beginning of your punishment. Right? It's like it's just a waiting line.
So we're all in a lot of trouble.
Here, right? Like we're just waiting. It only gets worse from here. Right.
Well, I do hope that things can get better. Reverend and I were talking about it. You remember just a few years ago, far left groups were burning American flags. Now they're waving them. You used to have people taking knee in sports games, taking a knee during the national anthem. And now you have honk if you love America. I mean, maybe this is a step in the right direction as far as the people and their thinking and their love of their nation. You know, I don't think that the people are as divided as George Soros and others would like.
Well, because the anti-Trumpers know that Trump's only got like 3 years, 2.5, a little bit more than 2.5 years. Like the anti-Trump rhetoric is slowly coming to a close.
Yeah, they know he's not going to be back for another run. He's not going to be a king.
You guys are entering, and this, without exaggerating the fact, right? Like you could do it yourself if you wanted to. I would support it, but you guys are entering the area of what I would refer to as refreshing politics. It could be refreshing as though it's fun, but it could be refreshing as in like very legitimately refreshing, as in who's going to be the Republican nominee when the next election comes? Because we know it can't be Trump. It's got to be somebody else. So maybe we should get a couple of like-minded individuals into the Republican Party. Maybe we should get some people climbing the ranks. Maybe we should get some people voted on. See if we can get somebody that thinks like us in the red side, and move forward.
Yeah.
And then who's going to represent the blue side? Has that been decided? I don't think their primaries have been done. Maybe we should throw some left-thinking resistance people into the left side, maybe, because that's like 3-year climb, right? 3 years from now, there's going to be an election on both sides to decide who's going to be going up against who, and then another election. The moment for change that Obama once talked about back in the day, the moment for change is now. The moment for change is any time a president finishes 8 years, because both sides have to restructure and put up their front man or their front woman, and then the nation goes to war on a political scale as to who's going to be the next president. You watch if both sides don't get real wise, and if both sides don't put up their own females, and if they're not both black.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole other discussion to be had with a lot of that, but I think you're onto something here. You know, if people get out of the left-right paradigm and get back to the old idea of, okay, Republican has an idea on how to fix the budget. Democrat has his own idea on how to fix the budget, and the American people vote for whoever they like based on who they feel has the better idea. But now you got people, I vote blue just because I vote blue, or because my family voted blue, or vice versa. You had Violent J during the last presidential election here in the United States, Violent J of the Insane Clown Posse. He said he really doesn't get into politics, but if he were to vote, he'd probably vote Democrat because that's how his mother's always voted. But if people actually got involved on an independent level and said, okay, let's just have people with ideas, fuck the left and right paradigm. Let's just have people with differing ideas, and we'll go with what we think works best.
The political platform of the corrective idea, which is funny because you're living inside my brain right now, because that was going to be the thing that I was going to bring to the table next. The political platform of the corrected idea is it's this. It looks exactly like a dictatorship, but it doesn't feel like it. For instance, I have an idea that we could save the whole world. Well, what's your idea? Here's my idea. Oh, I like that idea. I can see a few things wrong with it. Can you correct my idea for me, please? I really like the idea, but I can't seem to figure out why it won't work inside of society. Oh, well, it's because you haven't done this. Look, if you do this, it's going to screw everything. People are going to not like you because of this. Okay, so we'll do this instead, and you'll have a better chance at being okay. And what about down here? Like I'm talking about raising taxes. Nobody wants to talk about raising taxes. Yeah, I know, but you're talking about raising taxes, but you're talking about making sure that money goes into the hospitals and schools, so like people might be on board with that. So we'll sell that in a specific way. It's my idea, but I gave it to people to correct for me before I spit it out for the nation to decide whether or not they want to vote on it. The United States needs a culture of corrected ideas, not re-education. No, this is the idea, and everybody has a great idea until it's said out loud and someone finds a problem with it. Okay, well, let's find the problem. Let's know full well that our ideas are flawed, and we speak them out loud in order for them to be corrected so that they can be implemented.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't even know if that's a good idea to begin with.
I don't know. I mean, but it's a start. You know, again, you start with an idea, you get people's input, you build the idea, and you go.
Yeah.
You know, unlike people like YRV who went and said, I have this great idea. If you don't like me, fuck you. I'm going to troll you and set up a whole mess of fake accounts to harass you.
That dude,
You know what I mean?
that dude created at least 20 accounts, and the guy couldn't troll a porn star to jerk him off, man. Shit.
Yeah.
Dedication wins every day. Like.
Yeah, but you know, you have people who are like that, and that's where things can go south. And you figure if this No Kings thing went south and the John Podesta plan did get kicked off and the Civil War did start, what's going to freaking happen? People don't stop to think about the long-term repercussions of this. They think, oh, we're going to take back Washington. You know, it's going to be like that movie Civil War or that new movie coming out with Leonardo DiCaprio. People aren't stopping to think that there's a globalist cabal behind the scenes orchestrating all this, and then they're just waiting for the opportunity. Yeah, well, hold on. Check this out. They don't think that, oh, hey, there's we're worried about Trump, but we we're not even aware that there's a globalist cabal behind the scenes orchestrating all this, and that if shit goes to hell and a civil war breaks out, these people are going to step in and all hell's going to go shit globally. And then these globalists are going to step in. It's like, okay, the world's on fire. The Americans are fucking shitheads. Their government is out of control. Their people are running around killing each other like animals. We're going to step in. We're going to have a global governance, and welcome to the Hunger Games.
Yeah. See, it's like what I'm about to say now. It's like it could be framed as like a negative, so people could be like, people could take this clip and try to use it against me, and it is what it is. But sometimes, from time to time, even really bad things that happen inside of a nation can send a positive reverberation. For instance, when Charlie Kirk passed away, he was assassinated, and the left, aside from the fact that we already know that a lot of them were afraid and things like that, like we don't want to negate that. Another percentage of the left, they're still human beings. They still have hearts and emotions. So they're looking at this and they're like, man, that they killed that guy, and they killed that guy because people like me called him a Nazi. I don't want to be too quick to call someone a Nazi again. Maybe I'll be a little bit quicker to listen to what they're saying. So since Charlie Kirk has passed, the reason why I'm saying like the nation is inside of a situation where the political sphere can be refreshed. It's that like the open dialect, dude. The open dialect is there. Do you know how the open dialect is there? Because a lady in the blue shirt crossed the street to talk to you.
Yeah.
Right.
And some people, they'll come over and talk, and some of the tension is still there, and that was evident if you go back and watch towards the beginning of this broadcast. We had a couple come over, and when I brought up George Soros, the gentleman got very upset and walked back across the street. His wife, she was a little more understanding. She was a little more relaxed about it. We talked for a brief moment, but everything was cool. But they're, despite I would say just my overall experience here today, I think maybe the people of this nation are starting the healing process, and maybe Charlie Kirk had a lot to do with that. I think maybe there was probably a lot of variables,
Absolutely.
especially with us getting out and talking to people the way we do online and offline.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're at the point where the healing process has begun, but the wounds are still sore on both sides.
Just because we know why it hurts doesn't make the headache go away.
Exactly. But again, I think the healing process is beginning. We just need to get on the same page and understand the bigger picture. Yeah, I can understand why a lot of people don't like Trump. Okay, I've got my fair share of grievances. We pointed them out. Alex Jones has pointed them out. Joe Rogan's pointed them out.
We all do that.
Everybody on both sides points out and criticizes the president if the president does something that they don't wholeheartedly agree with.
Well,
okay, we are all aligned in that point.
Go ahead.
We have the Antifa is calling for infiltration of the No King protest and for violence.
How the fuck are they going to infiltrate? We're going to see that coming from a mile away. Tin Man's going to cross.
Why do you think I come out here
and warn them coming? Like, we're going to show them a right-left fucking handshake. You're like, bro, what? That motherfucker came over here to ruin your day. I'm just going to go back over and film it, okay?
Yeah.
Antifa infiltrate. Good luck.
Yeah.
You could.
Like, I thought Antifa didn't exist. Jimmy Kimmel, you got to make money to do.
You couldn't take an Antifa activist and put that motherfucker in a suit and tie and make him look like he wasn't an Antifa activist. Zero capability of camouflage, these people.
Yes. And, thankfully enough, we don't really see that many people at these smaller demonstrations. Maybe the bigger ones, again, like maybe Chicago or something. Our buddy Hart Fisher, hadn't talked to him in quite a few years, not since before I moved out of California.
Yeah, I remember
But-
we did something with Hart one night too. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I'm thinking, he's still on my friends list. Maybe I'll reach out to him and see, what's going on with him. I'm trying to change my settings right now so I can turn myself around. Remove from stage, edit mic settings. How can I turn myself around? Give me 1 second, gentlemen. Connor, go ahead and take point for a minute.
Take point. I gotta go pee. Someone else has got to fucking take point. I thought you were just gonna keep talking.
All right. All right.
Yes. Hold on. I'm turning around.
What I was trying to say was a little bit ago is that you had really
We're live streaming.
I just want to say we are not getting paid for this. I want my check to come if I'm getting paid.
I know, right? You speak up. They say that Israel's paying social media influencers $7,000 per post. Where's my check?
Where's my check? We are not getting paid.
Yeah.
Post that on whatever you're saying.
We're actually live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and X.
Good. We are not getting paid for anything. I'm just a good Democrat that wants us to keep our rights.
I think we're all on that same point, whether left or right. I think deep down inside, we're all Americans. We all want the same thing. Yeah, I can see where a lot of people have problems with the Orange Man. I can see where a lot of people would have supported the Orange Man, under the idea, the same reason people supported Obama. They wanted change that the previous administration wasn't giving. I can understand where people would see that and where they would want that. And, and I think we're finally at a point, like you and I talking. I talked to a lady in a blue shirt earlier. We had a couple over here earlier. I think the healing process of the divide and conquer narrative is starting to heal. There may be a few sore spots still, but I think, we're starting to heal and come back together as a nation and understanding that we want the same thing. We want to get to the same destination. We just had different ideas on how to get there.
Let me speak to the lady.
I would like for our president to quit saying he hates.
Yeah, he needs to stop putting his foot in his mouth.
I am an American.
He does.
And he is our president, and he needs to stop saying he hates half of this country.
Yeah, maybe reach out and try to understand where people on the left are coming from. Yeah, there's a lot of politicians who want to get the sibling rivalry going between the left and the right and catch us, the citizens, in the middle of it to do the fighting for them. I mean, it's happened throughout history since the beginning of time. But we need to be smart and see that and get our politicians to say, okay, one, we're not going to play that game. And two, you work for us, clown.
They work for us.
Exactly.
And they work for the American people. And we are all Americans. And I just hate it when I hear a president say he hates half of America.
I can understand.
I consider myself a leftist or a rightist. I'm a Democrat, but I'm an American.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself more of a civil libertarian. I grew up in California. My family were Democrat ideology. Okay, that's where I grew up, and I would consider myself probably the old school late 80s, early 90s version of a Democrat. Maybe I don't know. I was just a kid back then, but growing up, I understood very little about politics, but my family did it, so that's just kind of how I roll. But now I just kind of look at things on both sides of the fence, and I try to see everybody's point. I try to have the middle ground and go, okay, I understand where we're differing, but where are we the same? Where do our ideals align?
I think most of us are on the same side.
Yeah.
But when we hear our president say he hates half of the citizens of this country, that is not.
Yeah, at which point maybe he needs to sit down and talk to the people on the left and get a sense of how they're feeling and see, it's like, okay, there's a problem here. What can I do to fix it?
He's not going to do it.
Probably not. We can hope. Well, thank you. Do be careful. Your shoe is untied. Please, we do not want you to fall and hurt yourself. especially in the middle of the street.
Always taking care of people, Tin Man is always.
We probably have 10 times more people if we were getting paid.
Right? I like the way she thinks. We'd probably have 10 times people if we were getting paid. So it was definitely not a Soros-funded operation, that's for sure.
No. Normally they're half drunk by now, partying from the money they made doing the protest to begin with.
Yeah. But like you see what I'm talking about with the healing process. I mean, I got people coming up to me to talk to me. Last time we had to go to them. This time they're coming to us.
It's because they don't want
They want to talk. They want to get their ideas out. They want to heal.
Yeah. They're no different than you guys. They're like, okay, well, there's clearly a problem here. How do we fix this? Is it my problem or is it your problem? It doesn't matter whose problem is. We're going to fix it together, but we just need to figure out what we're doing.
Yeah. It's like we're all in the same boat together. There's a hole in the boat. We don't need to fight about it. Just fix the hole before we all go down.
That's right. That's and that's it's a huge topic to cover, man. Like it's huge because the American people they're fractured.
Yeah. Well, again, I think this nation is starting to heal. A lot of people aren't supporting the Democratic Party because of a lot of the bullshit that they're getting fed. And even people who are still diehard Democrats, like that woman that we just spoke to, she's got the independent mindset. She's able to sit there and go, okay, I'm a Democrat, but I can look at both sides of the fucking fence and find a common ground with my neighbor who may not necessarily hold my political ideology.
Yeah.
Like I can sit down and have a conversation with my family without it turning into a rumble at Thanksgiving.
Well, it's supposed to be possible. It's supposed to be possible. It's been feeling and seeming impossible.
I want to get back to the Netanyahu shit here real quick.
Go for it.
We all know that there were 157 countries that recognized Palestine, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Only two of them that didn't.
Now, Netanyahu, the founder of Hamas, has a arrest warrant, a global arrest warrant. Now, the thing is, if they do get him and they charge him and they're going to try him. Now, the thing is, here we got Trump, who's alleged buddy with Netanyahu, would probably step in and say, "Hey, look, whoa, what are you doing?" The thing is, the United States has over 100 plus countries looking at him like, dude, you don't get what he's doing? He's a war criminal. Crimes against humanity, man,
But it's Israel holds the military strategic location for the United States' ability to take oil from whoever they want in the region that's not strong enough to stop them. So when people ask,
well, here's the thing: like we have enough oil surplus to last us several hundred years, and oil replenishes. So, what's the point of keeping tensions high in the Middle East? Save Israel wants to go and shit in everybody else's sandbox.
well, see, and this is the huge problem, right? Because we're the people that have like decided, okay, well, we're not going to become fucking neo-Nazis. But at the flip side of the same coin, no matter how hard I try, all the information is leading back to the same direction. And I understand that the complex nature of an echo chamber that people go through on their social medias and things like that, right? So I totally get to like I will open up like browsers that have like the anonymous stuff on it, so there's no record, so the algorithm is not feeding off of a line of code for the search to generate to give me what I want. I actively seek out opinions that are not the same as mine.
Yeah,
And what I'm finding more and more, because this is what's happening, more and more I look, I'm looking for like detail specific. Okay. And then as I seek detail specific, I'm not finding things that are saying that is outright false. I'm finding things that are like in the context of, oh, if you're referring to this story, this is how it went down, not like that. But in essence, what you think happened, happened. So the discrepancies that we found.
What you think happened, but just not in the way you think it happened.
Yes, and it's just, and the discrepancies I'm looking for are the ones that are saying, "No, dude, that's just a blunt lie. Like that never took place." And I can't find those kinds of discrepancies. All I'm finding is shit that's solidifying what I already believe by correcting the information I had wrong about the thing that I believed.
Yeah.
So it's
sifting through disinformation and getting to the meat and potatoes of any given issue and dynamic is a bitch. Because you either have people who are getting shut down, or you got people posting disinformation. Like, I cannot sit here and tell you how many times I've seen a post about the Trump shooting being fake, because apparently his ear has no scar. Have we never heard of laser scar removal surgery?
Yeah.
right, like, and like, well, technically the scar would have to be of a certain age for that to work, right? Like, what, his ear doesn't
Well,
have
even
a
so, like he's got enough money to do plastic surgery. I mean, he can have his ear fairly reconstructed
pretty much
without it being an issue.
It only cost him a piece off his ass cheek. Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, like paper thin,
mean,
like parchment paper you cook with. It wouldn't take a whole lot of flesh to put over that area to just let it heal reasonably, and it wouldn't look like anything. But here's the reality.
Yeah.
What president of the United States gets shot in the ear and is going to fix that? That's a badge of honor. You got to keep that for the rest of your life.
You would think, yeah.
Right? Like that is the official "my dick is bigger than yours" story. Have you ever been president?
It is.
Yeah. Have you ever been shot and survived while you were president? It's the best one-up story. Why would you hide the evidence that proves that it happened? Here, let me tell you about the scar.
Yeah, it's like
I need to get going. Go, guys.
Oh, everything's kicking out. He's kicking out. We must have touched a nerve, because now he don't move no more.
Well, the thing is, I'll mention it because, I mean, Netanyahu has a war on his ass. And
why is my net down? I'm like right in front of the fucking house.
Hey, dude.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no problem, man. We can wrap this up. I mean, the protest is already over. I'm walking in my house right now.
There you go.
So,
all right, man.
Yeah, we'll
Peace.
just call it.
Peace.
All right. Connor, Revan, thank you for joining in and joining me at this No Kings protest. For those of you who tuned in and participated in the conversation, thank you very much. Thank you for everybody who was on site who participated with us. And as always, this is Worldwide Resistance Network, independent political activism. You can find us at Real TWWRN on X, YouTube, and Rumble. And till next time, stay strong, everybody. Stay united. You are the resistance.